Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
Why European players are taking over the NBA.
First of all, the game in Europe is way harder than the game in the NBA.
I think in NBA, if you go by the guy, you can see the help is coming. In Europe, is like if you go by the help is already there.
First of all, the court is more open. It's going fast.
what do you
But
think?
it's less.
Well, yeah, the court is smaller in Europe.
In the court is smaller in
Yeah,
Europe?
so it's
How much smaller?
well, I don't know exact dimensions, but it's a little smaller. It's a tad bit smaller, so there's a little less room to drive by. So it's a little tighter, it's more physical because there's less room. So it
Is it
in
like
that sense.
tennis? Like instead of playing doubles, you play singles?
Yet. I mean, it's a similar. It's not a bad alternative. It's not exactly the same, but to put it, it's okay. You're onto something. Okay, I'll give you that.
Physical.
It's not like that much. Doubles in tennis is basically half. You only have to cover half. It's not like that, but it's an interesting point. It's just less space, yeah, for you to move.
European basketball is more team basketball, more tactics basketball.
So you think it's harder to score 30 points in a EuroLeague game than it is in an NBA game?
Yeah, 100%.
When it comes to the past decade of the NBA, one of the biggest trends.
Why is there a difference?
Well, so as I said, just the space. It's a little tighter. But also the games are 8 minutes shorter, so less time to score.
Oh, so it's a different game completely.
It's
So
I would say it's a different
so
game.
when Team USA goes over abroad to play, are they playing
They're
under
playing under
EuroLeague's
under
conditions?
European standards, yeah, under FIBA, yeah.
Oh,
That's why it's harder for them. That's
wow.
because they're not used to the rules.
Yeah.
The rules are a
Is
little
that-
bit different.
Is that fair?
The game is the same. I mean, well, okay.
They should have people come over here.
It is fair because, well, if you're the best, then you gotta be the best under any conditions. If you're best under NBA conditions, you should be no problem adapting to playing under FIBA conditions. So
when they
That's- to
go
me, that's
and
fair.
play abroad, what's the win ratio? Like who's winning?
well, in the Olympics, the States won. In the World Cups, the States didn't win, but they didn't send the best player. So
Is the rise in European and international talent. And simultaneously, as European talent has increased, offensive ratings, points per game have shot through the roof, and defense league-wide has fallen off a cliff. And this right here is a classic example of correlation.
And
not
one of the
equaling
players,
causation.
they were saying, okay, if you look over the shoulder, the help is already there.
yeah, because the court is small.
Oh,
The help is somebody guarding his man here is already can help at the same time because the court is a
Yeah.
little smaller.
As contrary to what some fans say, European players aren't the reason defense is terrible in the modern era.
The NBA took away aggression. They took away aggression to open up the Euro League. When they first started getting here, it was too rough for them.
And they didn't make it.
They didn't make it, right? So eventually, they softened the rules. They didn't soften the rules for the Americans. They softened the rules to open it up international.
If there's one culprit
What
to
is
blame
his
for
point?
bad defense, it's Adam.
He's saying the NBA adjusted the rules so that it would be softer, not as physical, so the Europeans could play. Which I don't know. I want to say the basketball was pretty physical in Europe, though. I don't.
yeah,
think,
that's what I'm wondering.
I don't think that's true.
Silver, his NBA, and the rules he's implemented. I mean, look at someone like Luka Doncic. When he was playing in the EuroLeague, what were his stats? 16 points per game, which is still pretty decent. Now, his first year in the NBA, it skyrockets to 20 points per game, just like that. And by year 2, another massive jump to 28 points per game, and he's a top 5 scorer, first-team All-NBA player. So how does someone like Luka Doncic, who's slow, has no real speed, athletic ability, dominate so thoroughly in the NBA? Well, it's fairly obvious. This era of the NBA and their rules benefit the offensive player much, much more than the 2000s or the 1990s. Now, when speaking of defense, one of the best defenders we have in the NBA is Victor Wembanyama. And looking at Vic in year 1, despite being a European player, debatably the best defender in the game. As not only is he 7'4", can block shots at the rim, but pick and roll switches, can really guard 2 through 5, and if he has to guard someone's, can do it pretty effectively. And as dominant as Victor was in year 1 in the NBA, his defensive game, while still fantastic, is exponentially better
No,
in
that's
international play. And one of the reasons for that is the no
That's very
3-second rule.
I'm just saying because
What's
of the
the
rules.
3 seconds? What's 3 seconds rule? I think I know what it is.
What is it?
Okay, if they have the ball, like when you're in the center and you have the ball, they have 3 seconds to move with it. Don't touch him.
No.
No?
Defensive player cannot be in the paint for longer than 3 seconds in the NBA. They have to step out of the paint. In Europe,
Oh, yeah.
they can bring a stool, bring a chair, bring a
Really?
magazine, sit down under the basket and just sit there, read the magazine. Yeah. You can just stand there under the rim, and when you're so fucking tall, you stand under the rim, you put your hands up. It makes it
I
harder
thought
to
it was
score.
when when you guys do the ball, check, and then go.
Well,
and then, okay.
that's half court. They don't check the ball in full court.
Yeah.
Because the guy can stay. If you have a guy like, let's say, Rudy Gobert, he's gonna.
But
see-
that's actually another reason why it's harder to score in Europe too, because
Mhm.
there's no defensive 3 seconds. So defensive players can just spark in the paint and
Mm.
stay in the paint
Is
on
there a
defense, 3
referee
seconds.
really watching all the defense people for 3 seconds? That seems
that's their
hard to
job. There's
manage.
3 refs, so I mean that's their job.
On the floor, how many of the players are defense? Is it
5-5.
5.
Yeah.
So how many of them are defense? So I guess if one is having the
All
ball, the
of
rest of are defending.
No, there's a team on offense and team on defense. One team, 5 players is on defense, 5 players is on offense.
And they have referee to watch
Oh,
5 people.
they miss stuff, because
Mm.
that's human. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Seconds, however he wants. Like just because of that rule, you can have 10 more points easily.
I think in NBA, if you go by the guy, you can see the help is coming. In Europe, is like if you go by the help is already there, so you need to kind of think, play ahead, So it's interesting.
And that right there is the crux of the video.
I
the
guess
3
you
second
can
rule.
predict what's going to be the move if you can see that the defense is there and you're trying to take the shot. They have 3 seconds to be in that spot so you could plan your move. So that's why it's hard. It's harder in Europe because you don't know. They can sit there all day and
Yeah.
that's it.
Bring a magazine.
As looking across NBA history, the rules, the changes, the evolution of the game. Adding the 3 second rule.
I think
changing
I
entire
think the
dynamic of
3 second
defense.
rule is a good rule. I think maybe in Europe you don't think they should better implement that because I think it's kind of not fun if someone can just park there and just
Yeah, it's
Kinda
not.
bully.
I agree. Playing basketball, like, we
Mm.
don't have 3 second rules, obviously, but yeah, when if there's someone tall just standing
Mhm.
there, if they're guarding a non-shooter, it's
Yeah,
annoying.
and I think
yeah.
it will cause more injuries if anything. No.
I don't know, not necessarily injury. It's just it's harder to score. It's more annoying. It's more fun when it's more space. That's what I'm saying overall. But it's more fun when there's more space. So
Yeah.
exactly, a little bigger court.
Because these are big guys occupying a
these are
small
big-ass
space, and you
motherfuckers,
telling
yeah.
me you can have 10 people there parked there.
Yeah,
we all
10,
look
10
at,
people, yeah, rubbing shoulders. Yeah,
You-
exactly.
one of them got a fart in front of one. Clear. Then you make your shot.
in the game in general. And now in the current NBA, we have 5 guys who can shoot, space the floor. The defense is so disadvantaged, it's not even funny. I mean, someone like Luka basically is playing one-on-one every possession. And according to him, what he does, he watches that backline defender in the paint. As soon as they step out, he attacks, gets an easy layup and
Yeah.
one, or draws
Yeah,
a
I
foul.
can see that.
And looking at this year's Olympics, France already, with the pairing of Gobert and Victor, defensively just downright dominant. As look at some of these clips in the paint at the rim, deterring everything. And if a team like USA has some post presence, a Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, yes, you have Victor guarding one of those guys on the block, but in the middle of the paint on the other side is Rudy Gobert.
Is that probably
unlike the
why
NBA,
the
those-
best guys didn't want to go play in Europe because it's hard
Who's best guy?
in the US? Why
No,
didn't
because
they go play?
you don't get money for it. Why would they risk injury when you don't get paid for it?
No, what's the point?
Pride.
guys camp there
They don't get
and play
paid for
great
that?
outside defense. And historically
For international contests, they don't get paid.
I would look at you crazy. I would look at you crazy and say, "Don't come home saying my bag."
speaking, looking at the
I'm
NBA,
not helping you.
the only duo
You on your own.
is Ralph Sampson and Hakeem. And much like international basketball,
Just
European
look at, they
basketball,
get paid for
back
that.
in the 80s,
For international ball, they don't get paid. No, you get paid for the EuroLeague, the NBA. That's you get paid. That's what you play for. To represent your country, it's if you win, you get paid. But like for the 800,
Sponsorship, maybe.
no, it's like 500K or something. That's nothing. change for nothing. Their contracts is
No.
30, 40 million, 50K.
That's crazy.
There was no
Wow.
3-second rule.
Maybe if you
So
want
having
exposure,
Ralph
I
Sampson and
guess.
Hakeem Olajuwon playing post defense, not only to beat Ralph, but also Hakeem at the rim. Now, looking back at the current day NBA product, of course, there's still great defenders, rim protectors, and there's great athletes on the defensive end. But in large part due to the rule change and the tweaks of the game, those players' overall value is very much reduced. And as guys like Victor, Giannis, Jokic, and many of them will say straight up, the defense overseas, because of the rules, it's hard to score.
First of all, the game in Europe is way harder than the game in the NBA. I think over there is more intense. Like people pick you up full court, double team you.
Did he play
go for
long in the
zone,
EuroLeague?
I don't know.
To man to the last 5-second double teams from the start from zone. And
Actually, I don't think so. I watched the documentary. No, he got picked up. He got drafted pretty young. He didn't play much in Europe.
then they go man to man the last 10 seconds, and then the double team in the post. There's no lanes to drive. Like it's just the more physical.
And one of the big time talking points in this year's draft was the influx of international players, most notably from France. And a lot of the current day American analysts, they started to wonder, what's happening to the homegrown talent and the best of the best being from America? And I think the answer to this, it's complicated, but also pretty simple. When it comes to the top American
You know,
players,
I can tell
how do they
you.
grow
I
up
know what it is. Let me tell you what I noticed. I noticed that people are getting shorter here in the States. It's true because I'm noticing like when you look at the kids now, it's like they're getting little and little. Like now when you
Oh
see
my
who's in college,
goodness.
when you go
This
see
shit
who's
you
in
say
college, they
sometimes.
look like middle schoolers.
Okay.
So I think you see out in France, the guy, the last name W, the people over there, tall. No, I
Yeah.
think that's what it is.
Yeah, they eat some shit in France.
Mm-hmm.
practicing basketball and really getting involved in the game, primarily through the AAU circuit. And AAU basketball, in my view, is the worst type of basketball. As in any given weekend, you're playing 4 or 5 games, sometimes 3 in a day. In terms of overall training getting better, playing AAU, not the route to go. If you've played AAU basketball, you know for a fact, it's more about flash, highlights, instead of
This is
fundamentals
college.
and playing the game
No,
the
NBA,
right
NBA.
way.
NBA.
The goal of AAU basketball, in essence, is to showcase your individual skills,
This AU.
not win games as a team. Now, contrast that with overseas basketball, where they have legit camps, organizations that train you from day one on fundamentals, individual skills, as well as team skills. In America, what that used to be is a thing we called college basketball, the NCAA. Looking at some of the best players of all time, a guy like Jordan, college, 3 years. Hakeem, 3 years. Bird, 3 years. Magic, 2 years. Duncan, a full 4 years. And Patrick Ewing, also 4 straight years of college basketball. Those guys right there were pillars of the 80s and 90s. And they went to college for 2, 3, sometimes even 4 years. And the biggest problem with AAU basketball and college is that nowadays, it's a stepping stone to the NBA, and you bypass your entire
They
journey
require
of becoming
they
a
require you to go to college first before you go play basketball.
For a year, yeah.
Only at least a year. Okay.
all-around basketball player at high school and in college. Take someone like Dennis Smith, for example. This guy in high school was a 5-star prospect, got millions of views, millions of clicks, off sheer athletic ability. And of course, when he went to college, 1 year NC State, the team was awful, he put up decent numbers. Was he a ready-made NBA prospect ready for the league? Of course not. But still declared for the draft, got drafted by Dallas as a lottery pick. Then, 1 year later, Dennis Smith Jr., after a solid rookie year, gets outshined by Luka Doncic, who as an athlete is far inferior. But fundamental-wise, Luka Doncic, the much better player. Derrick Rose back in 2018 had a quote that always stuck with me. He said back in his Minnesota days, he was a better basketball player than he was in 2011 with the Bulls. And you might say, how's that the case? D Rose in 2011 was the MVP, 25 points per game, had a ridiculous bounce. And while all that is true, Derrick Rose is a basketball player, a well-rounded player, much better in Minnesota than in Chicago. As of course, after losing his bounce, his speed, his burst, had to hone his fundamentals, his skills, and specifically his shooting. And one last thing I will say regarding Europe versus the USA, in terms of bar-for-bar talent, the top cream of the crop, it is pretty much neck and neck. As looking at the best NBA players, most likely it's 1 Jokic, 2 Giannis, 3 Luka. All 3 guys, European talents. Then past that, 4, 5, 6, your SGAs, Tatums, Embiid. Then the next level, Steph Curry, AD, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James. So looking at the top tier cream of the crop, the best players in the NBA, the majority of them are international players and European talents. Now the one thing USA still does have is a vast talent pool below that, as the majority of the best NBA players are American. But the funny thing is, the best players, the MVPs, for the past 6 years have all been foreign-born talents. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.
Why is that, do you think? They
Why is
stand
what?
out like like the past MVPs have been from
European?
Europe.
Well, these are one of a kind talents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Jokic, I mean, just fundamentally phenomenal player, triple double. You know, like it doesn't matter where he's born, he'd be an MVP. Giannis, very gifted genetically. Luka is, Luka also very talented. I mean, both Jokic and Luka fundamentally sound players, so that's that in common. Giannis, just
Luck of the draw. It just happens. to
no, well, yeah, genetic lottery basically with Giannis,
be.
yeah, kind of. But it's a good video. He made solid points
Mm-hmm.
there towards the end.
So do you think European players are taking over the league?
I don't think
This was his
they're
title.
taking over the league, but I think
They're getting the shine.
yeah, exactly. I think
Yeah.
they're getting their shine and they're getting their
Mhm.
acknowledgement, and I think
And I think that's a good thing too, because they get to also put out their face a little bit out
Yeah.
there. Because I remember Dirk Nowitzki and like his dynamic, what he brought to the team. Because he sticks out to me. Because usually when I know like a player or two, they're like the outsiders and they get coverage because they're like the outsiders. So it's good.
yeah, and I feel like as we go in the future, it's gonna get more and more integrated, and more European players gonna stick around in the league. So it's gonna be good for everybody.
Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.